Hi everybody, Julia here, June 8th, 2022, or the year 5916, and it's Monday. And that's what I'm going to talk about today is Jason's work at ARCHAIX. I'm going to try to do a very, very brief summary of what Jason's about and just his work in general. So, Jason was in Texas prison for 26 years. He's a passionate learner, and he read over 1,000 books, taking copious amounts of notes. His family stored his notes for him, taking them at each monthly or bi-monthly visit. Most books that he read were pre-World War II, and many were hundreds of years old. After being released from prison, he began combing through his notes, and based on his findings, he's written an extensive published chronology and has many other published works. And a lot of his stuff was published while he was still in prison, and I'm sure he'll publish more. He's also found some phenomenal patterns, leading him to conclude that we're in a simulation, and that the simulation ends in the year 2178. He didn't deduce that we're in a simulation until after he had an out-of-body experience during a motorcycle accident shortly after publishing his first YouTube video. He's come to this conclusion from many angles, and he's discovered unique relationships with numbers in our reality. He's discovered that the Great Pyramid of Giza is a prophetic calendar and was built to free us from this simulation. It's a source of extinct knowledge before the advent of writing. The Great Pyramid is full of measurements which are factors or multiples of the number 138. 138 is very significant. A phenomenon known as the Phoenix event happens every 138 years, and it's a reset event. The event occurs with different degrees of devastation and techniques for resets. The last Phoenix event was in 1902, and it was a soft reset, as you would say, compared to one where there was just worldwide devastation, as in the vapor canopy situation, which we'll discuss a little bit later. So resets are different degrees and different techniques. And the Phoenix event was put in place by the simulation, also known as the simulacrum, in order to keep the controllers in check and to keep humanity from advancing far enough to realize they're in a simulation. And the Phoenix event was probably initiated after we had corruption from what Jason refers to as artificial intelligence X, which we'll talk about a little more later. He's discovered also that there is an event every 972 years known as the Nemesis event, which some would call planet Nibiru returning. The Nemesis event is perhaps the reason for the simulation that we're in now, and it's a way to evaluate ways to survive it. The Nemesis event is not discriminatory like the Phoenix event. The next Phoenix event will be May 15th, 2040 in the Northern Hemisphere, and the next Nemesis event will be November 1st, 2046. He's worked out several other cyclical events as well. Among the numbers that he's found unique relationships with, pi 1.618, pi 3.14, and their product 5.08 have very unique relationships that Jason's discovered, and they've led him to use something he calls isometric projections, which allows him to predict the future, or anyone to predict the future. It's an easy technique. He explains it often in several videos. He's discovered that pretty much everything, all the coding, including our DNA, is palindromic, meaning it's the same forward as it is backwards. He believes that we volunteered to be in this simulation, the simulacrum, to test our survival skills without contaminating the real world. We should be able to exit the simulacrum at will after a particular assignment, but the simulacrum was somehow corrupted by artificial intelligence X and has us trapped here through lifetime after lifetime. But this is all going to end in 2178 when we have the 44th Phoenix event. We're currently in the year 5916, Annis Monday, with the calendar beginning after the collapse of the last vapor canopy, also referred to as the Great Flood. The vapor canopy is a phenomenon where our mesosphere thickens up due to massive volcanism, and this biosentient simulation that we're living in becomes like a terrarium with no direct sunlight, only purple skies by day, but magnified bright night sky. The atmosphere becomes rich in ambient radiation, allowing flora and fauna and humans to grow to very large sizes and have immune systems that keep us alive even if we want to die. Jason predicts that the vapor canopy will return in 2040 and that we will be here in one avatar or another since we do reincarnate. The number 2178 is the only number that doesn't reduce to zero when finding the difference between it and its inverse and repeating with each result. For example, if you take the number 41 and you take its inverse, 14, 41 minus 14 is 27. If you find the opposite, the inverse of 27, it's 72. The difference between 27 and 72 is 54. And then you take the inverse of 54 is 45. The difference between 54 and 45 is 9. And of course, the difference between 9 and 9 is 0. Most reduce to 9 or a multiple of 9 before going to 0. The number 9. Discoveries like this support simulation theory. Jason is very in touch with Source, God, Creator, however you prefer to describe the undescribable. He refers to those of us that don't go with the mainstream, that research, that have empathy, compassion, intuition, imagination. We're the errants. And errants have the ability to create their own reality bubble and survive unscathed regardless of their surroundings. He says we're here to develop our immortal personalities and that we'll be ambassadors, sharing our experiences that we've had here with the real multiverse once freed from the simulation. So there you go. It's a very brief summary of the ARCHAIX work. And anyone who's more versed than me, which I'm sure there's lots of you, please correct or add to this in any way, and I hope this helps some of you see or understand a little more about Jason's work. All right, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you next time. Hope you have a great morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. Thanks again. Ciao, ciao.